Hello and welcome to my channel GreenLion Goddess Tarot. This is your weekend reading for September the 10th and 11th, and we have the beautiful Pisces full moon occurring at this time. And my goodness, it really is connecting us to the higher realms at this moment in time, especially as the Pisces energy is transcendent. It's about transcending our human experience into spirit, into oneness. And it is conjunct Neptune. It's planetary, well, modern day planetary ruler, which Neptune is the planet of mysticism, the higher spiritual realms as well. So what I'm getting with this, I was just tuning in, and there's this lovely sense of peace and calm amidst some very difficult things that are occurring or challenging things. And what I feel like this moon is doing is challenging us to see things from the higher perspective, as if we were up there. When I was tuning in, I quite literally was taken up to these higher realms. There was an angel with a trumpet heralding, sending messages out and welcoming new energies coming through. It's really interesting that I feel like there's a lot of room for reflection and seeing things from a very different perspective, and seeing the blessings in situations that previously may not have been seen. It's kind of interesting. I was thinking about when I was driving my son to school today, I was thinking about the last two readings that I did for the dailies, because one was about two blessings coming. Well, I received news of two deaths and I'm like, how is that blessings? And they were like, think of it as if you're an angel and you are welcoming in these spirits to the new life, to the new realms, to the higher realms. For them, this is a blessing. For those spirits, they're connecting into the joy. So it is a blessing if you see it from their perspective, from this higher perspective. And it's just from our earthly realm, we don't see it as that. We see it as something we're mourning, very sad. And I'm like, okay. And then we had the reading yesterday, which was around the Emperor getting some sort of successful offer about stepping into something that is either more responsibility and recognition, but there was ambivalence about it. And I'm like, well, that's Prince Charles, okay, with what's happened with the Queen dying. He's suddenly elevated into this position of being the king. But there's ambivalence with that Two of Pentacles that was in the center, because his energy stretched between mourning his mother and also having to take on this new responsibility where he is seen more, where he has more validation, where he has more responsibility. And that was kind of the energy of the day. So it's really interesting. And I'm like, well, it's just about seeing things from, and I'm like, it kind of shifted my perspective, thinking, well, from a different perspective, that does seem like, I mean, it is like this it's kind of time, it's his time to step into this role where we're kind of being shown where is it that it's time for us to step into something that Spirit is asking us, and to see it from that other perspective, and perhaps to see things that are occurring in our life at this moment in time from that higher perspective. Imagine you're an angel looking down, or however you want to see those higher realms, or however you connect in with them. How would it be looking at your life, at something in your life that you're seeing, you're potentially seeing it in very different ways? And that's what this moon, I think, it's all about our perception. It's all about connection to oneness, to the higher realms, and our perception of that, and how we're now seeing our lives through that different lens. So it's interesting. I put out that little short, and I did the pick a card for the Pisces full moon, and of course I picked the moon card, which is the Pisces card, and I'm like, oh, some people are going to think this is rigged, but it really was the right card to come out, because it had the owl looking straight at you. It had this owl on it, and it looks directly at you, and it was all about what you're seeing clearly now from this higher perspective. So it's interesting, but it's strange because, like I said, it's got this sense of opening you up to a higher vision, and from that perspective, being able to expand your vision for your world, your life, what's going on for you. But there's also, when you are tuning into those higher realms, there is this beautiful sense of peace and compassion and calm. And it can also be a very emotional energy. It might be bringing up some emotions where you're just feeling like yeah, the smallest things could set you off. So, or just a lot of emotions around seeing things from this different perspective. So, anyway, I'm just going to pull some cards. I'm just getting all this kind of downloads at this moment in time, but we will pull some cards for this weekend. Okay. And it's funny because normally I kind of might burn some sage. I got the message you don't need the sage today. So I'm like, okay. The kind of the barriers between the realms seems really thin at this moment in time. We've got the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so the World card. There's a culmination energy here with this Ten of Pentacles and the World. Full moons always are like this, but it's kind of like, culmination energy. It's the end of the Queen's life, the Queen of England's life, which is, a big thing for a lot of people. So the Ten of Pentacles is kind of like a legacy. It's looking at legacies and looking at endings of big cycles, not only for this is part of what's been going on with the change of the order we've been talking about with that big conjunction with the North Node and Uranus in Taurus and all of this. We're going to see this changings of order. The Seven of Wands, but ultimately it's about ascension. Quite literally, it's about rising up, getting yourself in a better position, seeing something from a different perspective. The Nine of Swords, it may actually be a lot going through to kind of consider, to shift. There might be a lot going through your mind. You might be seeing really clearly how maybe it's a question of, is this a phantom? Is this a real vision or not? Or have I been seeing phantoms when they're not there? So asking all these questions, but we have the Chariot energy, which is interesting, and the Queen of Pentacles, because the Chariot energy is about drawing two very different energies together. And one is the Nine of Swords, what's happening in our human brain, our human logical mind, making sense of this higher spiritual context, meaning, all of that. And so I feel like the left, the one sphinx is the spirit, the higher realms, and the other sphinx is our human understanding of things. And the Chariot energy is just wanting to bring those two together into making some sort of sense. The sphinxes speak in riddles, so it's sometimes things just don't make sense. Like I said, we got the blessings and I ended up with 2 deaths. And so it's like, how does that make sense? Logically, inside my little human mind, it doesn't, but when I go up into those other realms, it does. And so bringing these two energies together with the Chariot helps make something make sense. And so it's part of this greater vision or envisioning that occurs here with this. So ultimately we have, as an overall energy, the Queen of Pentacles, which is around your inner stability. It really is kind of grounding you back down. So it's saying a way to really work with this energy is to ground in. This is the divine feminine. So coming back in and nurturing yourself, it feels like a newfound appreciation of the things around you that you're nurturing, going, I'm seeing this in a different perspective and seeing the blessings in a situation and really appreciating this. So even though there's a lot of change happening externally, what are the things internally that I can nurture and find my stability within this big energy that's kind of asking a lot of me to step out of my usual understanding of things. So this is kind of, an enlightening energy, an visionary energy, even an inspirational energy. And I do feel like it is really we're going to feel it in our hearts as well. And sometimes it's just these things that shift our perception, and suddenly it kind of just, everything feels different for the moment. It feels like some things just feel you're really grateful. There might be an energy of gratitude, prioritization, just kind of feeling like, okay, really working out what the important things are to you in life. So big energies to be dealing with, and you wouldn't expect anything less from a full moon in Pisces. And it can be very creative as well, this energy coming through, very creative, highly mystical energy, conjunct Neptune. Wow. Okay. So it's a big energy, fantastic time to meditate or just spend some time in quiet reflection, thinking about the bigger perspectives in life. So that's it. That's the reading. Look forward to seeing you next week. And speaking of reflection, just I stopped the recording, looked at the reading and went, of course, the Queen has come out. I'm not a monarchist by any means, but for whatever reason, the last two readings have been about, Prince Charles and the Queen have come in. And of course, the Queen is there next to, the Queen of Pentacles is there next to the culmination energy of the ending of a legacy. And she was the Queen that brought so much stability, aka the Queen of Pentacles. So I don't know why the Queen is coming into the readings and Prince Charles, but they are. And that is just, I think, it's looking at like these bigger world order kind of energies around us, and how that reflects upon us is something that could be coming in with it as well. But yeah, interesting. So that's it. Just as a little side note.